how you can afford to travel. Okay, it's not as difficult as you think. Just pay attention to the things we're about to say.
Fundamentals are universal.
See.
We've been traveling on and off for the past 4 years, realistically. We made it the forefront of what we do. We love traveling, so most of the decisions in our life help us travel more. In our adventures, we have met dozens and dozens and dozens of people that live this way. They live slightly different than how we've done it, but they live in countries, they work in countries, and they travel indefinitely.
And some of them don't even have a home. They just...
Literally, they're vagabonds.
They're vagabonds. How long have you been traveling? I'm 32. I've been on there for 8 years. What? People do this?
Yeah.
Apparently.
But they live a different life. So you got to think about that. It's like, how could someone who's 21, 22, 19, or 35, how could they live in a country, survive, and what about, like, how does that work with the world back home, like real life and all that stuff?
Well, for starters, you got to realize that the cost of living is significantly different in different countries compared to North America. Things like rent, food, gas, just the basic necessities would be very different, for example, in Bali, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, Central America, Nicaragua, certain parts of Europe. I mean, obviously, certain places is going to be way more than where you are, like you go to London or Tokyo, right? There are tons of places that are just paradise and absolutely unique, gorgeous places to explore that are way, way cheaper than what you would pay at home. So the trick here is to be able to get paid in a way that you would back in North America, but spend it in a place where your dollar goes way further.
Learn how to make money online. We're not going to go into depth with this. You can find bajillions of articles and find a million different ways of doing it online.
But the point is, we live in the information age. Everybody's connected. Any job that you can do at a desk, more often than not, you can do it remotely. You might have to Skype in for a meeting. You might have to, realistically, when you're in office, half of the time is spent on banter. You could probably do a job like that or a similar job or a contract job remotely. And if you could make like $1,000 a month, you know, hypothetically, doing that, being somewhere where you're spending $20 a day, you're okay.
Doing just fine.
You're gonna be okay. And Bali is a place like that, for example. It's paradise.
Let's use Bali as an example. We're comparing the price of living back home versus the price of living in Bali. Flight aside, once I'm in Bali, average price of accommodation for, you know, mid-range bungalows, beach houses, vary between 15 to 45 bucks. You know, average maybe about $25 is what we spend.
Split by 2 people.
Split by 2 people. Back home in Vancouver, our apartment is about $60 a day to rent. It's about $1,800 a month. 60 bucks a day or 25 bucks a day. Think about how much other money I have to use in different things. Now, we live in a specific way that we don't own a lot of things that cost us money. We don't have mortgages. A lot of us don't own cars. We use car share, borrow friends' cars if we need them. That helps us. We're not paying monthly insurance. So our only costs when we're at home is rent and sell and food.
So minimize your costs is step one. You cannot be really traveling if you have to pay a lot of bills at home. That's one of the things you kind of have to take care of. Step two is make sure you can make money remotely. If you can't make money remotely, if that's just not really within your reach or your grasp, the other very obvious option is get a job somewhere else. Whatever you're doing at home, somebody else in the world, somewhere else, will have a use for it. It doesn't really matter. You can do that job somewhere else. Granted, you might get paid less. You could work in a hostel where you would get room and board and some spending money and get to hang out with people and do cool activities.
Yeah.
As an example, right?
Some examples of people that we met who were doing this lifestyle, living indefinitely, were workers at hostels. In Nicaragua, we met a handful of friends that had been there for years, like literally 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and that's all they do. They live on a beach. They have this beautiful lifestyle in paradise. Granted, they don't have a lot of luxuries that you could call it that we would have back home.
They have usually a simpler lifestyle. You know, you have somewhat okay Wi-Fi. You have a room that's, you know, nothing grandiose. You might not have a house or a car that you own. You know, you have a bungalow on the beach and you have a little scooter to rip around in. And you got coconuts in front and you got hammocks in the ocean. But like that's some people's vacation. Some people work year round to get 2 weeks of that. Well, just, you know, flip the switch a little bit, right?
I met a girl in Thailand who essentially had been to 15 countries, and all she did was would go work at the hostel for a month or so. She'd make a few $100s, That'd be enough to take her to the next city, the next country. She'd work there, she'd work at a bar.
So it's not difficult is what we're saying.
No.
A lot of people do it, a lot of very young people do it. Some people just don't want to go to university, they do that, they figure out, oh shit, a lot of people are doing this and it's pretty simple and I made a lot of new friends and just kind of go with it. Right?
Hopefully it's inspired you in some way. What we really want to get out of this is to teach you and to help you guys understand that travel is for everyone. You don't have to be rich to travel.
Not at all.
You just have to be smart. You need to understand the world of travel because you can do it with a small amount of money. You can do it in a huge way with a small amount of money, and you can do it forever if you do it right.
Subscribe, share, like, tell us your travel story below and we will answer it or comment on it.
See you next week. And boop 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 boop. Name that app. Name that app.
Um,
Skype.
Skype.